we were discussing about MSMEs. MSMEs in the features of the last class introduced. Would you like to ask something? We are about the flag end of that module, second module. Have you read through? No answer? Have you read through your chapters? I don't know. If you go through your chapters, all clear. So as early as possible, please read through that. It is your initiative. You people are matured individuals and you have more free time. Tension so take care of that. Exam declare right. So take your time, prepare yourself, keep little small notes so that can be useful when you write your exam. Second year papers, first year papers, third year papers, idokka backlog vannu idella ipo ninkariyalike by now you know that adipich exams vare. So you may not be able to perform well in all. Adondana nammal backlog varade nokka ennullathu it is our responsibility. So make sure that you are learning it. I'm sharing my slides with you. Nammal continue MSME, micro, small and medium enterprises in there. I'm just sharing my slides with you. Today we will be finishing with the second module. Yeah, can you see it? Slides കാണാൻ പറ്റുന്നുണ്ടോ? Can somebody answer? Yeah, okay. Okay, what is MSME എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ slide കാണാൻ പറ്റുന്നുണ്ടോ? Yes? Yes, okay, thank you. So I'm just having a recap of nammal കഴിഞ്ഞ ക്ലാസ്സിൽ പറഞ്ഞ ഇതാണ്. പിന്നെ ഞാൻ മറന്നു പോകുന്നതിന് മുമ്പേ the same link is being used for the next modules also. For computer application, the rest is handled by under teacher. So I will not be compelling you, but the same link is there. I think if you want, because this is online class, there is no restriction on that. You can enter or exit any class. So for computer application, it's here onwards. Once we finish the second module, it's your choice, but you're welcome. For the rest, cooperation will be continuing with the classes, and I'll be using the same link. So if you want, you can. I welcome you. You can sit in the class, just listen to me, maybe from a different perspective. So that will be useful for you. So that way, otherwise, by today, your second module is over. I was handling your first and second module. So that's why we go with finishing this module. Still, I'm just inviting you to the other classes, which we would be continuing. I'll let you know the time. And the link is same. Cooperation students, it's mandatory. I'm handling the whole thing for you. So you will be having regular classes after this also. Okay, so what is MSME? We had discussed this in the previous class. It is micro, small, medium enterprises. Just check your textbook whether your textbook is having the new stipulated standards. If it is there, then no problem. Otherwise, correct it. I have also given you the link to the website of the government. For all the latest notifications for MSME will be coming here, okay, including this one. So that is why you may take care of this website, visit it occasionally so that you get yourself acquainted with the new happenings with respect to MSME. Suppose if you are going to start your business, imagine you become an entrepreneur after your studies. There again, this site will be extremely useful for you to come and know about the opportunities for an entrepreneur, the scope for starting up business, the kind of financial assistance that's being given. Everything is explained very well in simple language in this site. So you may, of course, you have district DIC, district industrial councils and all, along with the state dealt matters. So you can go directly to DIC's website also, but you come to know how, because maybe you want to know what are the procedures, how to get yourself registered with as an micro small enterprise with the small industrial department, like Udyog registration, how to do with that Udyog Aadhaar. You have an Aadhaar, which we would be discussing in our today's class. So all these details will be available in this website. So even after this, after we finish with this course, maybe after your third year, after you pass out, you might think of starting a business. So at that time also, remember that you can straight away visit the site, log in to understand all the details and the procedures, everything. Okay, so keep in mind that this is one of the government website, where you can refer to when you're planning to start your own enterprise, right? Yeah, now then we discussed about the classification. Micro, as it says, it's very minute, it's very small. They might convert themselves into small or medium at a later stage, but now they are micro. So accordingly, they are classified as micro if their total investment is not more than 1 crore and the annual turnover is not more than 5 crore. That's the case for classifying yourself under the category of micro enterprises, right? Now going with the next one. Yeah, I will have to do a gimmick for changing my slide.
Excuse me, Miss.
Yes.
Mithun Raju present.
Mithun, where were you for the last few classes?
College dance competition and
Okay. എന്നിട്ട് എങ്ങനെയുണ്ടായിരുന്നു ഡാൻസ് കോമ്പറ്റീഷന് വിൻ ചെയ്തോ?
തേർഡ് പ്രൈസ് ഉണ്ട്.
ഓ, കൺഗ്രാറ്റുലേഷൻസ്. എന്തിന്റെ കോമ്പറ്റീഷൻ ആയിരുന്നു അത്?
അത് എല്ലാ കോളേജിലും ഇപ്പൊ നടക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. നമ്മുടെ കോളേജിൽ അത്ര ഇല്ലാത്ത
എന്താ അത്?
കോളേജ് ഡാൻസ് ടീമും കോമ്പറ്റീഷൻസ് ഉണ്ടാവും.
ആരാ നടത്തുന്നേ?
അത് ഓരോ കോളേജസ് വെച്ച് നടത്തുന്നതാണ്.
ആണോ? അതാര്? നമ്മളുടെ കോളേജുകളാണോ നടത്തുന്നത്?
അതെ.
റൈറ്റ്. ഓക്കെ, ഗുഡ്. അപ്പൊ ഇനി ഉണ്ടാവുമല്ലോ ക്ലാസ്സില്?
പോവാൻ നിൽക്കുന്നുണ്ട് മിസ്. കോളേജിലേക്ക് പോവാൻ നിൽക്കുന്നുണ്ടാവും. പ്രിൻസിപ്പൽ ഒന്ന് കാണണം. അപ്പൊ കോളേജിലേക്ക് ഇറങ്ങാൻ നിൽക്കണായിരുന്നു.
എന്നിട്ട് പിന്നെ അറ്റൻഡൻസ് ഒക്കെ ഞാൻ തന്ന ക്ലാസ്സിൽ യു വിൽ ബി ലിസണിംഗ്? യു വിൽ ബി ഹിയർ?
ക്ലാസ് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ടേ ഉള്ളൂ.
Very good, very good. Okay, so listen to me. So yeah, the next slide where ആരാണ്? Come early to class, കേട്ടോ. നമ്മുടെ ക്ലാസ് തുടങ്ങുന്നത് 8:30. It will be a disturbance. നിങ്ങൾ എടുത്തെടുത്ത് ഇങ്ങനെ ഇടയ്ക്ക് പറയുമ്പോഴേ. റോബിൻ, 8:30 അല്ല, 9. I'm sorry, 9.
അറ്റൻഡൻസ് കൊടുക്കണ്ടേ? ആരാണത്?
കറക്റ്റ്. ശരിയായ നടപടി അതാണ്. Okay, enough. മതി. Anyway, good. അപ്പൊ the next slide, it is small enterprises. അത് കാണാൻ പറ്റുന്നുണ്ടോ? കാണാൻ പറ്റുന്നുണ്ടോ? Can you say?
Yes, miss.
Okay, right. Thank you. Yeah, MSME, the small enterprises, അതിൻ്റെ അകത്ത് നിങ്ങൾ ഓർക്കേണ്ട രണ്ട് കാര്യമുള്ളൂ, 10 crore and 50 crore. Okay, so their total investment will be less than 10 crore and their total annual turnover, അതായത് സെയിൽസ് ടേൺഓവർ, അവരുടെ ആനുവലി വരുന്ന total sales turnover is not more than 50 crore. അങ്ങനെയുള്ള കാറ്റഗറിനെയാണ് നമ്മൾ സ്മോൾ എന്റർപ്രൈസസ് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. Okay, so first one was, I hope you remember, the first category which we were discussing was micro enterprises. This category is small enterprises. And now the third category is regarding the medium enterprises. Okay, I hope you can see the slide. Medium enterprises, they have the total investment in the plant, machinery, and the assets should not be more than 50 crore, and the total sales turnover would be less than 250 crore. ഇങ്ങനെ വരുന്ന കാറ്റഗറിനെയാണ് they are brought under the category of medium enterprises. And then there is one issue which will be addressed when you categorize the micro, small and medium enterprises. It is regarding the taxes and other rebates available to these enterprises. Right? Because micro are very minute, very small, so it is very clear that there will be more kind of support that will be given to these enterprises, because then only they can, in future, they can develop themselves to small or medium enterprises. And those enterprises which do not fall in this bracket will be categorized as large enterprises. Maybe depending on the level of operations, they will be called as large companies, national companies or multinational companies if they have their operations outside the country. Okay, so these are the classification. This we had discussed in our yesterday's class. And now we will just look into the characteristics of this MSMEs, the general characteristics, micro, small and medium enterprises. Normally, these would be started in small, right? And they might be started by one person, one or group of person, but generally it will be by one person. That is individual entrepreneurs with less capital investment, because they are just into their business. So comparatively, the capital investment would be lower in this category. And they generally are based on labor intensive industries, say cottage industries, mode of it may not be lot of machine or technology based, because they cannot go with lot of investment in the technology or high-end technology and all. So generally this will be labor intensive, that is dependent on people, artisans or skilled personalities or workers, like as you say, factory employees. It will be dependent on them. So there will be lot of that is another plus point which we are going to discuss. Since it is labor intensive, there will be a lot of people who are given with employment opportunities in these industries. And simple technology means you might have seen that how they go with, see, when you go from Ernakulam to Trivandrum, you can see on the way, you can see many of the coir factories or the coir aligned industries, where they use simple technology to make different products made out of this coir. The primary raw material remains to be coir. You might have different type like rope or carpets or maybe the different types of different processing being used to come up with different products which are made of coconut related coir or coir related products. So there you can see that they use simple technology. Why? Because they are not investing in a lot in the technology. They are purely based on the labor, skilled labor management. So that is why we generally come across simple technologies that's being used in these industries. Another good example is paper bag making industry. There also you can see that most of the work being done by hand and maybe folding or some other, like making the handles that might be used, that might be mechanized using technology. So all these will, or paper glass making, there also the primary task will be done by human being, and the rest, the final folding, is being done using technology. So all these things, that's why we say that there is simple technology. Personalized services, see, for example, some of you you might have gone to Sangeeta bags. Some of you might be using that also. Those are jute bags. Okay, and these people, they make bag out of, it's very near to, no, in my place also there is one, in Kalur also there is one outlet, and when you go to that outlet you can see that they are manufacturing products in jute, and you can ask them to have what type of design you need. Like you might say that we are having a conference, so we need a file printed with our college name on that, and all these specifications we might say. Accordingly, they will make for us. So that is why we get a personalized service. Since why that is possible, we are not operating on a large scale. They try to meet the local demand. That's why we get personalized services. Where you might have come across other type like catering units. Some of you might have worked with them also. So catering units also, you look into the demand the customers are making, and you accordingly make your products to suit their requirements. That's why we say that there is a kind of personalized services that's being rendered by these enterprises. That again is another characteristic as well as merit of these MSMEs. And as I said, localized. They are trying to meet the local demands, since they cannot operate on a large scale. They cannot advertise through television media. For that case, it is very expensive. So what they do is word of mouth, or might be they will place their products in some supermarkets in the counters, or they might issue some pamphlets or brochures, and accordingly they do their sales in the local area within that particular locality, or maybe spread across that particular district. That's all. So that is why we say that most of, but we can also have many MSMEs who are focusing on exports. For them, the market is different. They are actually exporting most of their products, like to Fort Cochin areas and all. If you go, you can see many of the seafood exporting companies. They don't normally focus in the local market. They are small scale industries, but what they do is they export. They process the seafood. They put that like canned food or dry food, and what they do is they primarily export that to different countries like United States of America or other developed nations where there is huge demand for our seafood. So that's a difference. But generally, these people are localized, and their initial selling will happen in the local market. And what do you mean by lesser gestation period is the inflow, the profit. See, once you start a business, normally every business will take some time for making profit. And that period between the implementation and the actual inflow coming up, that's what we call as the gestation period. And here, the gestation period for these MSME might be shorter. The reason is you're not starting on a large scale. You're trying to sell to the local customers, and most of it will be going on payment basis. You don't agree to credit system in the general case, because you need money to continue with your operating cycle. You sell your product, you earn your revenue, and then you buy the raw materials for the next process. So that is why generally these units operate on cash flow basis, and accordingly they will have lower gestation period. They don't have long periods for continuing with their getting their inflow. So that is why we say that MSMEs will be having lower gestation period compared to large companies. See, for example, if one company is going up with setting up of an airline industry, they invest a lot in buying the as you say, no, the flight, different models of flight, and a lot of infrastructure investments being made. But the revenue will come only after some time. People needs to use the service, and they need to actually travel. So after that only their profit earning will be coming as a reality. So that is why gestation period for these industries are little longer. So that's why when we compare these industries with MSME, the gestation period will be much lower. Or I can say another example, as you start up a construction company. You make all the investments, you make the flats, or as you say, villas or buildings, and then you will start selling that. then only the money will be coming for you. But for small industries, that's not the case. You make the product, most of that might be in perishable nature. Even if it is not perishable, you try to sell that immediately because you need the inflow to continue with your business. So that is why the gestation period for these industries would be much lower. Okay, so these are the basic characteristics which you can see in micro, small and medium enterprises, which make them different from big companies. Okay, now going with the next part. Okay, I hope the slides are visible. Now, going with the importance of MSMEs in India. India, as we know, is an emerging economy, and we have a lot of human capital, right? So, as such, when the industry is totally dependent on technology, the use of human capital will be much lower. When most of the big industries, if they are using technology to go with the production process, what happens here is the human capital requirement for different jobs will be very less. In as you say, as against that, MSMEs, they are less dependent on high-end technology. So what happens? They use, that's why we said they are labor intensive. So accordingly, they use a lot of human resources for rendering their different tasks. And that is why they offer more employment opportunities to our country, to people in our country. So that is why we say that these industries are very important because they try to increase the employment opportunities in our country. Then the second thing is they prevent accumulation of wealth. Because if 10% of the, that's what we call, maybe 10 to 15% of the people in the country are having maximum share of wealth. That's an imbalanced situation where what happens here is they will become richer and richer and poor will become poorer and poorer. So that's not something that is needed for a balanced economy. Suppose if we are planning for a balanced growth, we need opportunities being shared between people from all strata. So when we give opportunities for people from different strata to start their own business, to come up with, to implement their own business, what happens here is there is sharing of wealth between different groups of people. So you will give opportunities to those who are in the bottom of the pyramid when we consider the economic well-being. So they are also, when the people are given with financial assistance and they are asked to come up with their ideas, implement their ideas as business, there is sharing of wealth which is happening, which will lead to a balanced economic development. It will not lead to the accumulation in few hands. In fact, it will lead to sharing of wealth between different strata within the economy, strata or group of people within the economy. Right. So that's why we say that the MSMEs can allow a balanced economic development as well as a better standard of living. Why? When you have income, when your family is earning income, what happens? Your standard of living improves, and your family household expenditures could be met in a better way. Accordingly, your well-being, economy well-being also can be improved. So that again is another benefit of micro, small and medium enterprises. Then skill-oriented development. Why? Because I said about many cottage industries in Alapura. Likewise, we have many handicraft industries, handloom industries, or as you say, jute industries, cotton industries. That's being promoted because of this initiative from the government. So what happens here is not only the white collar jobs, but skill oriented living or development is also happening within the economy, which will promote again a balanced growth. Because if there is only white collar jobs, what will happen to the cottage industry? If people prefer to go for only such type of jobs, what will happen to the traditional industries of the country. So that is why MSMEs actually is the concept of MSME is a motivation for skill-oriented development. So there are different types, different angles, like farm products. You can see that there are organic farm products, industries based on organic farm products. All these are promoting the local industries, the traditional industries, and that again promotes the skill-oriented development. Okay, and then mobilization of local savings. Why? Because when an industry is being set up in a locality, what happens? There are a lot of people who will be investing money. There will be a lot of consumers who will be buying product from these industries. So there is mobilization of savings, right? Savings being moved from the savers to the investors, and again investors will be investing money, they will make product, and then when they try to sell the products, there is again mobilization of savings. So that is why it is being said that since these industries are local based, there is there is scope for mobilization of local savings. Another other thing which I said, the example of like seafood industry, there is a lot of promotion of exports. Why? Because there is huge demand for such type of product in the developed market. See, technology based products means they are already into that. All the developed markets and other markets, they have that. What they do not have is something which is based on human capital, like labor intensive industries, where they are focusing on local products, and then local products, they might be, if it is of good quality, they are having heavy demand in the foreign market. So accordingly, we will have a lot of exports. See, for the good example is our handloom industry. There is huge demand for this product in many markets apart from India. So if we are able to produce that in good quality at the right time, we will be in a position to export that to different locations. Same as the case, organic products. There are certain, our jackfruit is a good example. Their climatic conditions may not be favorable in many countries for this fruit. Right. So we have ample scope if we start up some industry that is based on jackfruit processing. Maybe now there are a lot of industries who make this processed sweets, dried jackfruit, which is said to be raw dried jackfruit, which is said to be very effective for the patients suffering with diabetes. So likewise, these things are being exported, which will indirectly become favorable for India's exporting business. It will increase the revenue of India from various exports. So that again is another importance of MSMEs. And another particular nature of this MSMEs, there is less dependence on external funding, like foreign capital. Because if you consider a big company, almost all the big companies, they have gone for foreign investments. Most of it, they have gone for investments from foreign institutional investors. But MSMEs, since they have very limited scope with respect to their operational modalities, what they do is they normally depend on the national financial institutions, Small Industries Development Bank, SIDBI, or other local commercial banks, rather than depending on foreign investment. But there are exemptions. There are many industries who have gone with foreign investments also. But generally, they have less dependence in the foreign capital. So that again is quoted as another benefit. Why? Because there is a lot of mobilization of capital investment that is happening within the country. Right, so it is considered to be more beneficial for the people of the country. Then another general feature of micro, small and medium enterprises is most of it are very environmental friendly. They go with products that are of environmental friendly, which protect the environment, or maybe as a measure to protect environment. You can look into the cotton industry, you can look into the paper industry, or you can look into the organic farm products, or renewable source of energy. All these are brought in as part of MSMEs. So that's why we say that most of them, there might be exemptions, but most of them, they focus on environmental friendly products and services. So that again is considered to be very important for a country like India. But if you ask me which is the most important point, I would say that MSMEs are labor intensive, so they provide a lot of employment opportunities for the people in the country, and thereby they help in balanced development. So that's the most important point. But apart from that, these are the other benefits of MSMEs in India as a country. Okay. So I hope it is okay. Would you like to explain any point here again? ഏതെങ്കിലും പോയിന്റ് ഞാൻ എക്സ്പ്ലെയിൻ ചെയ്യണോ ഒന്നുകൂടെ? Is it okay? Yeah. Sarang, is it okay? Sarang. Sarang, yes, ma'am. Is it okay? Manslayo?
Yes, ma'am, Manslay.
Okay, right. So I'm moving forward. Arkangelam, if somebody is having doubt, just break me there. I'll stop. I'll explain that again. Okay. Now we are just looking into some of the, no, not always, but some of the industries might be facing some barriers which can be brought under these, like lack of funds. Of course, I would say that if you have a good business plan, it might be easier for you to procure fund, but still, initially when you come up with a small setup, it might be very difficult for you with no background in doing business, right? With no background in doing business, you might find it little difficult to procure fund. That's why most of the MSMEs, micro, initially they start with investing their own capital. Then later they get the assistance from the government to proceed with their business activity. But things have changed. Now there are many schemes, but still one of the barrier which is expected to be faced by these enterprises are lack of funds. Maybe at the expansion stage also, they might find it difficult because they are competing with the large companies who are operating on a large scale. So that is why maybe there can be a barrier due to the lack of funds. And then managerial skills. As you can see, most of the people who would be engaged in these activity will be people who will not have some kind of professional education, some kind of, as you say, the skill. They might be skilled laborers, but they might lack professional kind of educational background. So they are laborers. They actually can work on it, but maybe if they could be trained with the managerial skills, things might be little more better, like time management or financial management or human relations management. All these could improve the quality of work environment in MSMEs. And tough competition. We know that the kind of competition, see, these MSMEs might be, they have to compete with products from China, Japan, or as you say, Brazil or Sri Lanka. They have to compete with the products from these markets because now we are in a liberalized economy, open economy. Government has opened our doors for the foreign goods. So definitely they will have to compete. Sometimes because of lack of technology, lack of large scale production, the cost of these products might be a little higher. Whereas in the products from China and all, they might be sold at a lower cost because they go with large scale productions, which is purely based on technology. Right. So that competition is one of the barrier for our MSMEs to come forward. Sometimes they might feel, in certain cases, especially textile, the cosmetic industry, or some unique industries, they might find tough, very tough competition because they have cheap products coming up from other markets. So our products might be finding it very difficult to compete with because people may not be having that much money to spend for these products. And once they feel that more or less similar things are as available at a lesser cost. Maybe it is Chinese or some other countries, people might go for buying that. So that is why we say that there is tough competition for these. So they, even though government is giving a lot of rebates, concessions and all for these industries, still most of them will be facing this tough competition because of lack of technological use. Okay. Then lack of specialization. Again, that comes from absence of professional kind of education, absence of professional kind of expertise, all these. So that can be one problem. So that again has to be taken away by giving more trainings, awareness programs, technology-based trainings, technological support from the government side. All these things can improve the situation. And again, research and experiments. Say you need extra revenue to go with research and activity. Once you are running on a minimal profit, the amount which you can spend for research and experiments will be very limited or almost zero. So that again prevent you from coming up with innovative products. You might manufacture the product, the same kind of product for 20, 25 or 30 years. You're not coming up with innovation in that. Why? Because your amount you spend, the time you spend for your innovation or research might be very less. So that is considered to be another barrier of many of the oil industry. See, that is one good example where we went back because we were depending on that conventional technology for coir manufacturing or coir processing and all. Now, the educated youth, they are not willing to go with that conventional method. No, as you soak in the water, you have to make coir food by using your hands. So maybe youngsters may not be willing to come into that industry because the technology is almost nil and you're still dependent on old ways. So that is considered to be one of the problem that is being faced by these MSMEs. They have to come up with modern technology in order to compete with the kind of competitions they are having, especially from the developed markets. Okay. Another important, I put the most important points. Another important problem which they face is marketing of these products. Again, that basically comes from their lack of experience and professional education. They have to, like a company, say you take the example of Kellogg's or you take the example of any other company that come into India for marketing their products. They do that in an elaborate way. They have money, they do that in an elaborate way. But the problem with our local artisans and local industry is they are not going with the broad kind of marketing steps or marketing strategies because one is finance is the limitation, the other one is lack of awareness. Because we have come to these online platforms very recently. Right. Now, many of them are trying for their market for selling their products through online platforms. Still, we are much beyond when we consider many other type of competitions that come from the different parts of the world. So that is why we say that there is problem that is connected with marketing also because we may not be expert in using different technology for marketing our products. And another thing is sometimes certain products you cannot sell that online because people would like to touch, feel, understand, and then they will like to consume it. So in that case, you cannot sell that on a larger scale. You have to take your products from place to place. You do not have a large scale mass media advertisements that is possible for you because that's very expensive. Right. So that also can be a problem where now how do we come, how are we trying to overcome this is the government itself is taking up the marketing task of these products. Like we are going to discuss about e-marketing, government e-marketing platform where all these products will be brought under one umbrella and public sector organizations can buy only from them, from this market. So likewise, there are steps being adopted by government, but still there is much to be done in order to make these units survive in this market, tough competitive market. Okay, so these are some of the barriers that's being faced by MSMEs. Now, the last part of our discussion will be based on setting up of steps for starting up an MSME. So, no, after your college and all, you might be thinking of starting up. Some of you might be thinking of starting up of a business. So, this is the general process which you really have to know when you go with starting up an enterprise. Maybe a micro, small, or medium. Normally, we start with a micro one. Right. So the first step is you will be looking into. Suppose I'm planning to start an industry which is based on organic food. Okay, I want to start up an organic food based restaurant. Okay, I am planning to use only organic kind of. There are certain restaurants that are based on these concepts, but now the importance of that is coming up. So I plan to start up a restaurant which is fully on organic theme. I use only those products that are environment friendly and that have been produced based on organic method of farming. So that's my concept. So what I have to do is I have to look into the prevailing business environment. I have to look into whether people will come for that. I'm just quoting an example, okay, for you to explain the steps. It's not that we are looking into only this organic farming. I'm just going with an example since you also have a course on organic farming. So what I have to look into is I will be looking into what are the other, how many restaurants are there presently in that theme, what is the pricing, what kind of food they offer, what is the kind of or menus or the materials they or the type of cuisines they offer in the restaurant. All these things, plus whether I will have to ensure that customers are willing to pay. Maybe it is little higher. Organic presently it is little higher. So the pricing is little higher. So I will have to ensure whether they are ready to pay for it. So all these things will be included under business environment. I'll be looking into internal factors as well as external factors. Internal factors may be that I will have to ensure that I will get products, farm produce, organic based farm produce, or else I have to cultivate on my own. Right. So I will be looking into all these business environments. So that's the first stage, studying the prevailing business environment to understand whether there is really a scope for doing this business. I might have 5 or 6 ideas. From that, I have to pick one. I have to choose one. For that, I will be going with analysis of the business environment. And then after analyzing, I fix on one. In my case, we fixed on organic theme-based restaurant. Right. So I chose that. So that is the second stage, which is called as project selection. So in that project selection, again, I am specifically looking into this project, this particular project. Previously, I had many, like 5 to 6 cases. From that, I was just focusing on this organic theme-based restaurant. And then in the second objective, I will select the project and then I will look into where to open, whether I have to open a shop, like a physical location for that, or is it online? And then I will look into the other factors like whether I will have enough capital to start, whether I will have enough human resource to start. That's what we call as feasibility study. The first step is analyzing the business environment. Second step is you select the project and then you prepare a business plan and conduct a feasibility study. And the third part is we will try to come up with the technology and machinery. Say, for example, restaurant also there are different types of machinery you require. You might require machinery for processing your food. You might require machinery for cooking your food. You might need a modern burner. All these events, all these things will be our next stage. And then the fourth stage is after arranging all these, definitely we will have to have some kind of financial assistance. So presently, as I said, you have Small Industries Development Bank, District Industries Center, state financial corporations, or other commercial banks. And apart from that, there are specific schemes that are launched by government from time to time, like Mudra, uh, uh, Young Yojana, like Pradhan Mantri Karma Yojana. Like there are different schemes like that which could be benefited by you when you are starting your business for arranging finance. And then the actual implementation where you are starting up with the unit, which is called as the unit development, where you have to resource for the power, water, installation, staffing, procurement of materials, all these. That's what we call as unit development. And then the sixth one is Udyog Aadhaar memorandum registration. Udyog Aadhaar is a mandatory number, Aadhaar number, which is required for every industry, no matter whether it is micro or small or medium. That's mandatory. You have to go with online registration. And I have just given after this, I'll show you the website address and the web page, where you have to register yourself with all the details, and you have to obtain the number. Even for applying for a loan, for the if you have to have loan or financial assistance, you need to have this number. And then as you know, you have a lot of clearances to get, like you have to go with for restaurant, you have to go with trade license, you have to have approval for your building plan, or maybe you have to get approval for the other, like environmental free, that is certificate. And if you have gone with a new construction, you might have to go with environmental impact assessment certificate. And then you have to go with GST registration. Maybe you don't come into the tax bracket, but still you have to go with GST registration. And all these will be your approvals and clearance, which needs to be done before you start your business, because those are very important. If you cannot get your clearance, what happens here is you are not eligible to conduct your business. So that is why these things are very much detailed. What all certifications you have to obtain, what all clearance you have to obtain in the MSME website itself. Okay. And then finally, quality certification, like it's not mandatory, like ISO certification. It's not mandatory, but if you can obtain it, it will give better impact on the customer perspective. So that is why you go with, maybe you will go with ISO certification or some other quality certifications to ensure that you are a person who is handling quality products, right? So these are the broad steps that will be involved in starting MSME. So first one is just initial study to come up with an objective, and then you go with the final selection of a project. Then you try to manage your technology, your finance, your development of the unit as such into a reality, and then you get yourself registered after obtaining different clearance certificates, and if possible you will go with obtaining the quality certification. So this is actually how you go with setting up a business for yourself. Okay, now there are small videos. If you're really thinking of a business, starting a business after this your graduation, MSME itself has given you different small videos which is available online, where you can listen to it and then try to understand how to go with the process, and you can easily there are many schemes which I'm going to show you few of it, where you can up to 1 lakh you can get loan very easily. They say that, no, I'm just showing it. I'm just saying that some of you think that after I work for some time, I will go for starting a business and all. But that's not needed. If you really want to start a business, why don't you start it? You have some kind of financial assistance. Don't start on a large scale. Start on a small scale. And then you can expand looking into it. And it is not mandatory that when I start my business at the first time itself, I have to be successful. It's not. It will take some time. See, last week I was just collecting the proposal of students. The government itself was inviting many proposals from the students, and I was a mentor and an evaluator in that. So I had actually evaluated more than 48 48 proposals that's been submitted by students from different colleges. So it is as part of ASAP program, skill development program. So you can log into the, if you have a very good idea regarding starting up a business, you can log into the ASAP website. Now it's over. This year it's over. So coming year, you can submit your proposal. And if you have a business idea, to some extent, ASAP, government itself, during your studies, they are funding the project. So likewise, that's also possible for you. That, as we say, no, if there is a will, there is a way. So likewise. So this is actually the registration portal. I have taken a screenshot of it. This is the registration portal. And here you can see the address to log into that. This is the address where once you start up your business, you have to register it. It's mandatory. It's mandatory, and you have to give all these details for you to avail the loan facility also. So see, you can see that this certificate is valid for lifetime. Once you obtain this certificate is valid for Udyog Aadhaar is valid for your lifetime until you close your business. So this is a mandatory no. And you can, for further details, you can visit here, this address. This is just the page address which I have taken. Or just type in Udyog Aadhaar, e-Udyog Aadhaar, you will get it. Aadhaar number for your, like individuals are having an Aadhaar number, likewise your business is also having an identity. Very minimal details needs to be given initially when you start it. Okay, now the next I'm just talking about few schemes. See, Pradhan Mantri in the new constitution in 2018, they have introduced certain schemes to make MSMEs comfortable with their process. The first one, the most attractive one in that is, can you see my screen? Can you see my screen? This 12-point screen?
Yes, miss.
Okay. So thank you. So here it is like, procurement 12-point action plan, which is being taken by the government from time to time. The first most attractive one is 59. It was introduced in 2018. 59 minutes loan, in the sense if your loan requirement is 1 lakh or less than that, it's being said that if you furnish all your details with the business plan, you can avail the loan in 59 minutes. I don't know how far that 59 applies, but it is comparatively easier for MSMEs if you for you to start up. These are some of the plans that's been promoted in order to encourage more MSMEs to be set up in the country. Now, the second one is, always there was a lot of complaints regarding the inspection officers who are visiting these. No, you need to get the approval from a government official in order to proceed with. So there was a lot of complaints regarding these inspection offices. Now they have gone with computerized random allocation of these inspection officers within 48 hours. So it will not take much time, and there is no other. It's very transparent. There is transparency in the allocation of these inspection officers. And again, if you really have to, another scheme which was introduced is regarding the loan option. Suppose if you want to get your loan option immediately, then government introduced that in the GST portal itself. GST, there is a portal where you have to get yourself registered for getting your number and all. So there itself, you can give the loan option to make your process a little more faster. And again, your rebate. Earlier, the post and increased from, that is the exporters. This is with respect to the exporters who are going with exporting their goods to different locations. So in there, they had to go with shipping charges, right? Sometimes it might be very huge. So in order to minimize the burden of these people, the rebate available to pre-shipment and post-shipment, it was increased from 3% to 5%. Presently, it is 5%. And Again, a new quick loan scheme. This is if you have a very good business plan and if you have a track record. You started as a micro, then you became a small, and maybe you want to know, or you started as a micro and your performance is very good, rated as good. In that case, there is another quick loan scheme where you can get financial assistance up to 1 crore very quickly by using your business, by submitting your business plan, your Udyog Aadhaar number and GST number. That again is open for MSMEs presently. And what you have to understand is practically when you look into it, it might have some preferences based on the kind of activities that are happening in different states in the country. Suppose if there are a lot of, it is proportionate, pro rata allotment. Suppose if one state has received a lot of such assistance and there are many other states which has not received that, there can be some preference given to such states. But this scheme is open for MSMEs. And again, there is a rebate. Rebate is actually a concession in the interest rate. 2% rebate for loan up to 1 crore if you have registered yourself in the GST portal. All these are called as a 12-point action program that was introduced in 2018 for the promotion of micro, small and medium enterprises in the country. And there is a continuation of this even now also. Okay. Now the next point, the last part of our today's discussion is regarding the other points. That is, normally the public sector undertakings, at least earlier, before 2018, at least 20% of the purchases had to be from MSMEs. Like the raw material purchase and all had to be made from MSMEs in order to promote the products of MSMEs. But now that 20% being from 2018, 20% being increased to 25%. At least 1/4 of their total purchases, raw material purchases, had to be from the MSMEs, local units. So only 75% they can think of purchasing from other big shots. 25% of the purchase had to go from the MSME sector within the country. So that is another way. There are a lot of public sector companies. All these units will be having this mandatory norm that they have to purchase from MSME. So that was a compulsory norm that was introduced by government in. Before that, it was 20. Now it is 25%. So that is also a good encouragement to MSMEs. Again, in that 25%, 3% need to be purchased from women entrepreneurs, women enterprises. So that again is another encouragement for more women entrepreneurs to come into entrepreneurship activity. So total 25% need to be purchased from MSME, and in that 25%, 3% need to be purchased from exclusively from women entrepreneurs, women enterprises. You see the kind of boost to the industry that is being promoted. So that is indirectly promoting the MSME industries. Then I said about the GEM, that is government e-marketplace. See, for us, our college also, this is applicable. All government organizations, when they are purchasing using the government fund, okay, I underline, when they are purchasing using the government fund, they have to initially purchase it from the government e-marketplace, that is online portal. If that product is not available there, then they can think of buying it from outside. But initially, they can only purchase from government e-marketplace. So that again is another mandatory norm that was made by the government. And now why do they do that? Because government e-portal is having products manufactured by micro, small and medium enterprises within the country. They are trying to sell these products through these online platforms. So that is why one barrier, like lack of marketing support, is being taken out, is being solved by introducing government e-marketplace. So that again is a boost to MSMEs in the country. And last budget had a 6,000 crore package for technological upgradation, because we said that these people are not able to compete with the other cheap products coming up from different markets because they had a very lower technology. So budget allocation was made almost 6,000 crore for bringing technological upgradation in the MSME sector of the country. So that again was a boost. Then pharma clusters. Pharma clusters means it is those industries, small MSMEs, they are specifically looking into production of medicines, different type of medicines, including Ayurveda, Allopathy. Allopathy, of course, you need a lot of patents. Ayurveda also you have patent, but we are specifically looking into different types of medicines, and they will be established as pharma clusters. Okay, they are established as pharma clusters, and the total cost up to 70% for setting up them is being borne by the government. So only 30% needs to be borne by these enterprise owners. The rest 70% of the total cost will be borne by the government. Only thing is that they have to set up under the program called pharma clusters. Okay. Then we said no, these units will have to have environmental clearance certificate. Now what has been introduced is they can have single certificate receiving the environmental clearance like air, water, pollution, single certificate. No need for going with certificate separately for air clearance certificate, water clearance certificate, environmental impact clearance certificate, like that. They need not go with separate application. They can get this clearance certificate easily in simple terms in one certificate. So that again was another benefit of this 12-point program. And the last is, suppose there can be certain conflicts or issues that may arise within a MSME, and if it is very minor in nature, government has permitted them to settle it outside the court under the Companies Act without going for an elaborate legal settlement, because that made their process a little easier. That might be related to the some minor settlement like payment related or bill related, discounting of bill related. If it is a minor case, they can go with settlement outside the court. Okay, so that minor is decided by Companies Act from time to time. So these are the 12-point action programs that were mainly aimed at promoting MSMEs. Now, apart from that, you have a lot of like Make in India, Made in India, different programs, and you are able to get different types of financial assistance based on that. And startup villages, you have a lot of technology parks. All these are aimed at promoting MSMEs. And what you have to remember here is, now the programs available are many, but what you have to have is, you have to have a feasible business plan, a good idea, right? Then only you will get the financial assistance idea which can solve some problem of the society. Then it is very easy for you to start up that business. Okay. So this is about the second module, which dealt with classification of entrepreneurs and also the details regarding micro, small and medium enterprises. So that's it. Would you like to... I lost my connection. So that's it. So if you would like to, as you say, explain any of these which I explained. Now today's class we discussed about primarily on MSMEs. What are the benefits of MSMEs for India as a emerging economy, and what are the primary problems faced by MSMEs. We also discussed about the steps, the process to be followed when we are going with setting up of an MSME. And additionally, we discussed about some of the programs that are available in order to promote the growth and development of MSMEs within our country. So these were the primary tasks which we discussed. Any doubt or any clarification which you would like to ask? Or is it okay? Yeah, Afreen?
Yes, miss.
Is it okay?
മിസ്
മനസ്സിലായോ പറഞ്ഞത്?
മിസ് മനസ്സിലായി.
Okay, so what you have to do is read your textbooks and if you would like to come back with any area, just let me know in my next class. And as I said, no, computer application students also, I will inform the time of our class. If there is no clash of class, you can log into. And if you want, apart from that, if while reading your textbook, if you have any doubt, you can just text me, okay, WhatsApp me, so that I'll reply to your WhatsApp chat. Okay, so I think we can stop here. Now Saturday we may not be having class. Monday valuation camp starts, so the timing may be little changed. I will inform you. Centralized valuation is starting up for teachers, for all the teachers, not only for me. So there can be slight change in the schedule of our classes. I will let you know. Mostly it will be after the afternoon, because morning we have to report to the camp. So adjust accordingly. Right. Thank you. We'll meet tomorrow in the next class.